Welcome back to Triple Play. Daniel Eisner's in the lead while Adam Cooney and Blake Lawrence have some catch-up work to do. Let's start round two. It seems that George Steinbrenner has bought the Jets. They have splurged on big-name free agents, they have traded for Pro Bowler Antonio Cromartie, and they got a Super Bowl MVP in Santonio Holmes for a fifth-round pick. Yes, Holmes will be gone for the first 4 games, but do these moves make the Jets a Super Bowl favorite, Adam Cooney?
You know what, going back from last year, I've always thought that they would be, after last year's performance in the playoffs, that they would be one of the top AFC teams going into next year. A big question is going to be the sophomore slump of Mark Sanchez, whether or not that'll actually happen. What helps is keeping Braylon Edwards, having Jericho Cotchery, having a more experienced Dustin Keller. One thing I'm very interested in watching is, because they got rid of Thomas Jones, how LaDainian Tomlinson, will come back and play this year. We already know the defense is going to just be stacked. You got Cromartie, a shutdown corner, a top 5 corner on one side, and the best corner since Champ Bailey in his prime in Darrelle Revis. And so I'm just interested to see how the offense plays and if they can hold their own this year. But if they do, definitely see the Jets being an AFC favorite.
If you're looking at the Jets, the question comes down to Mark Sanchez. The guy can't even throw right now. His shoulder's injured, so you don't know what his chemistry is going to be like with the new guys. So, yeah, there's plenty of time until the workouts begin and the season starts. But the question is Mark Sanchez. That's what it all boils down to. The defense is stacked. They got a receiver. The running game's good. Sean Green is a beast. LT is going to do some work. He's on a mission to prove San Diego wrong, but it all comes down to number 6, Mark Sanchez, Mr. Hollywood. Is he going to be able to keep up with the New York media for another year?
Like you said, going off that, it's New York. Yeah, they've got some good names. Obviously Sanchez is a big name, the highlighter there. We're talking about that. What do the Jets have, though, that really separates them from any other team in the NFL that right now, really? I mean, seriously, everyone knows, especially in the AFC, it's a crapshoot. It's a total coin flip to win every game. Every team might as well just go 8-8. In the AFC, there's so much parity. I don't think the Jets clearly have enough right now to go on top and say preseason favorite right off the gate.
Yeah, but the thing with the Jets is that no one's going to be able to throw against them this year with Cromartie and Revis locking down both wideouts for any team. So they're going to be able to put 8 guys in the box, leave a safety deep, and have Cromartie and Revis on the outside, and they're going to shut everyone down. Defense wins championships. It's said every single year when the Patriots won championships, yeah, Tom Brady was good, but it was the defense that was solid. Every team needs a great defense, and this is beyond great. The Jets will make the Super Bowl next year.
Cromartie and Revis are great defensive players, but there's 9 other players in the field, and there's 50 others on the sidelines.
Honestly, if you look at this team and you go position by position and you compare them to some of the other the AFC's best, such as the Colts, the Patriots, the Chargers still, if you go position by position, really, I think they have the advantage in almost every position. Obviously, one thing that stands out with those 3 other teams is you have Phillip Rivers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. It comes down to Mark Sanchez, how he will perform this year, how his shoulder recovers, and he's the question mark. If he performs well, even if he performs, decently well, and the run game is performing like it has the last couple of years, the Jets will be in the Super Bowl.
Another team made a big move. Dolphins got Brandon Marshall. Which receiver do you think will have a bigger impact on their team this year?
It's got to be Brandon Marshall. We all know about Miami's Wildcat offense and the running game with Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams. One thing they've never had is a solid receiver. They haven't had one in a very long time. And Brandon Marshall is a top 5 receiver. It gives Chad Henne another gun to throw to, considering Ted Ginn's a bust. Devin Best is not a number 1 receiver, and Brandon Hartline isn't either. So getting a number 1 receiver definitely helped. Their defense is good. It brings Miami up a little bit, but they're going to have a better impact. Brandon Marshall will have a bigger impact than Santonio Holmes.
You just got to wonder about when you're talking about Brandon Marshall is his whole motivation while playing in Denver, playing so well. Yeah, the guy was a stud, but all he ever wanted to do was get paid. Now he's gotten paid, signed the extension, $47.5 million going straight to the bank. He can fight off all the cases that he gets himself into every single year. So maybe he's just going to relax now. You have no idea. But you can't trust Antonio Holmes either because he gets into trouble as well. So the answer will probably be Brandon Marshall only because of the rest of Miami's offense with the Wildcat, with Pat White and Ronnie Brown in the backfield, and Brandon Marshall out wide, and Chad Henne has to throw a pass every once in a while. Dolphins will be good this year.
I think at this point in their careers, Brandon Marshall is clearly the better player, the better wide receiver, I think, if I'm allowed to say that. But I think that just if you look at the framework that Santonio Holmes will have around him, the people that Brandon Marshall will have around him, I think that Santonio Holmes is going to have the edge just in terms of impact on the team. Let's not forget this is somebody who's 2 years removed from making a toe-touch catch to win the Super Bowl.
Santonio Holmes definitely has a lot less pressure than Brandon Marshall to perform because of Braylon Edwards, Jericho Cotchery, Dustin Keller, Sean Green, LaDainian Tomlinson. He's got weapons around him, whereas Brandon Marshall really has himself, Ricky Williams, and Ronnie Brown. That's about it. So Santonio Holmes has a lot of pressure. Brandon Marshall, I feel, will still make a bigger impact. However, it really comes down to, which city has less parties to go to, Miami or New York. I don't know, you figure that out.
But you think that Santonio Holmes is under less pressure because he has more help? I think he's under more pressure because of what we were just talking about. The Jets are now expected to make a run to the Super Bowl. He's that offensive weapon that they were missing. So Santonio Holmes is going to be under a ton of pressure next year.
All right. Now let's talk about some NBA. The Lakers have the #1 seed in the West, and they are the defending champions. But Andrew Bynum is just getting back to practice, and Kobe Bryant missed the final 2 games. Are the Lakers still the favorite to win it all?
I've never had the Lakers the favorite to win it all. Maybe in the West, possibly. I've always had Cleveland, ahead of them to win it all, the NBA Finals. I still think this is Cleveland's year, LeBron's year. He's going to stay in Cleveland, I'll call it now. But I think Lakers are just going to have to worry about not winning it all, winning their first series. They have to play Kevin Durant and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Durant is the scoring champion this year. He's got a solid cast around him. Russell Westbrook, Jeff Green, James Harden. It's going to be a crapshoot. But then once it gets, because every team in the West has 50 wins. And so Lakers are not guaranteed to make it to the finals, much less win it all.
The problem with the Lakers this year is they're not going to have any trouble in the first round. Unfortunately, because seeing Oklahoma City upset the Lakers would be a great story, but they're just too young, too inexperienced. The thing is when they get to the second round, they're either going to play the Suns or the Jazz, depending on how these standings finish out. But both of those teams can give the Lakers trouble. The Lakers are old. They can't run up and down with the Suns, and they don't have the size to bang with Utah. Nobody on LA can guard Darren Williams. Pau Gasol will get into serious foul trouble trying to guard Paul Millsap and Carlos Boozer. So either way you look at it, the Lakers are going to lose in the second round. Mark my words.
And basketball is a game about trends. Everyone likes to talk about trends. College, pro, it's a trendy thing to say that the Western Conference is so much dominant over the Eastern Conference. That probably is true. They're probably a better conference. But why are we so much talking about the Lakers? Why are we talking about the Lakers all the time? Why isn't it fashionable anymore to talk about how the Celtics are going to dominate? I mean, let's look further in the East. Let's look at the Hawks. Let's look at the Heat. I mean, these are good teams coming out of the East. I don't think that we can pick somebody just because they're the Lakers and say that they're the favorite to win.
The Eastern Conference sucks. Other than the Cavaliers, the rest of the East sucks. The teams are finishing under 500, making the playoffs. It is a complete joke out in the East. They need to realign the whole thing, put the top 16 teams from the NBA in the playoffs, because the Rockets have a better record. Houston Rockets, finishing with 42, 43 wins, have a better record than the 7 and the 8 seed out East, and yet they're not making the playoffs. So the East is a complete joke other than the Cavs.
If we're going to talk about hometown teams, go Bulls in the 8 seed. But, yes, the East is not anywhere comparable at all to the Western Conference. You may have the Cavs and the Magic. You could possibly even, throw the Hawks in there on a good day. But, 1 through 9, the West is better than, 3 through the whole entire conference of the East. So, but like I said, I still think Cleveland will go and win it all. The Lakers will not.
And why isn't it fashionable to talk about the Celtics? Maybe because they're all 35 years old and you have Rasheed Wallace making layups for the wrong team.
Hey, well, you know what? The Lakers are getting a little bit older, too, if you haven't noticed.
All right, well, the Flyers, they clinched a playoff berth on a shootout win, and the NHL playoffs are full of all-stars. Which first-round series are you most interested in?
I'm most interested in the Philadelphia Flyers series. It's Philadelphia versus the, oh my God.
Devils?
Yeah, thank you.
It's not very interesting.
I knew it. No, I knew it was the Devils. Zach Parise is a stud for the Devils. He showed it in the Olympics, how good he actually is. Got Martin Brodeur. But honestly, I'm picking Philadelphia in 7. They are good. They got in on a shootout goal. However, they're the 7 seed. Go figure.
What makes a difference in the NHL playoffs? Whoever is playing the best at goalie. So the series I'm most interested in, Buffalo versus Boston. Ryan Miller, Tim Thomas are two of the best goalies in the NHL. Both represented the USA at the Olympics. Ryan Miller really made an all-star name for himself worldwide. The guy is a monster. He's going to make a run through the playoffs because he's going to lock down the net and not let anybody score.
Series I'm really interested in is the Coyotes and the storied Red Wings franchise coming in the first round here. I'm really always excited to see the Red Wings play in the playoffs. I think they're a clutch team all around. But the Coyotes have a lot to fight for. They have these financial things that they've been fighting with recently this season. Look at who they have on their defense. They have O'Coin, Jovanovski, Morris, all on defense. This is a team that's not to be counted out moving forward in the playoffs.
No love for Sidney Crosby or Ovechkin?
Not in the first round, because you know both of them are going to win. So, I mean, that's not a big thing. It's like the same thing with the Sharks and the Blackhawks in the West. You know those teams are going to win. They may go through 5 or 6 games, but you know they're going to win. So, first round, if we're talking about first round matchups, those aren't really a big deal. If you're talking about future for the NHL, you know, the later rounds, I'm going to call it now Blackhawks, Penguins, Stanley Cup.
Yeah, so the Blackhawks can lose because Hosa's on their team, and he's lost 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. And don't put your money on the Sharks, Cooney. You know, they're the team that loves to lose and get upset in the first round, so I'd be careful about betting on them.
I know what, I've heard enough about Sidney Crosby. Let's move on. Maybe it's time the next Olympics rolls around. I'm ready to hear more about him.
You know, that's it for round 2. And it looks like Daniel Eisner and Blake Lawrence will be fighting to speak their mind. While Adam Cooney, you get to watch from the sideline.